So I got myself a brand new, well, new to me anyways, 2003 Ford Ranger. Bought it about 2 weeks ago, and I finally got it to where it's good, reliable condition. That was a good condition truck. It was sort of shocking to me how good this truck was when I got it. And someone had spent a great time, you know, keeping up the interior. Obviously it's not perfect, it's an old truck, it's an 18-year-old truck, but very nice condition, about as good as you can get for, again, an 18-year-old plus truck. When I got it, there was a lot of problems with it. So to start off, the car was throbbing. It would go up, the engine would throb, it would go vroom, vroom. I tried to film it and get the sound, really couldn't hear it. But basically replaced the idle air control valve. And then also every once in a while it would just sitting, it would spike up to like a 1200 psi. And so I replaced the throttle position sensor. That's a common problem with these. I have a brand new water pump on the car, brand new radiator. And when I got the car, the radiator was just full of nothing but sludge, brown sludge, and the overflow tank was also, so I flushed out the overflow tank. I had to put in a brand new radiator. I put a flush kit through the car, and when I did the flush kit, it actually caused the radiator to start leaking really bad. When I actually grabbed it to pull it out, it crushed. So the radiator was in bad condition. It's got a new radiator. The other thing too is the fan, the clutch fan, was locked permanently. The bearings in the clutch fan, or whatever it is, the thermal, I think it's like a magnesium or something, it was permanently locked. So it was causing the engine to have to work really hard from start because the clutch fan wasn't moving or wasn't free like it was supposed to be. So I had to put a new clutch fan in. That's what I ended up having to cut the fan completely off with a Sawzall because of the it was rusted. The gearing was rusted. It was the original water pump on the car. Once you cut them off, you pretty much have to commit to replacing the water pump. It's not a fun experience. I have some videos already up there if you guys want to see it. Oil was sludge, not quite like dark sludge, and so oil change, I ended up putting on, I used the Motorcraft oil and Motorcraft oil filter. I found that it helps the oil pressure if you use it. The black latch, which there's a video, was broken on it. Put a lot of work in on this thing, more than I care to admit, but it's now running fine. Engine vibrates a little too much for my liking. I'm guessing either the motor mounts need to come off or maybe they're over tightened. I haven't dealt with that yet, but I will have to look at it one of these times. But as you can see, for the most part, the engine's really clean. Someone had spent a great deal of time cleaning this, making it look good. The idle air control was just caked with dirt and stuff like that. And so basically, you can sometimes clean them, but I just replace them. They're not cheap. They're like $50, but I'll just replace them personally because they're just not worth dealing with. The other thing is the pressure control valve, which is back here. I replaced that as well. If you ever replace the idle air control, you should always replace it. It was really dirty too. Can sometimes cause the engine to sound loud when you do it. The trans fluid, I end up flushing that as well. Put a new filter on the transmission on that. There was also a vacuum leak, which is pretty common with these cars. And this one was pretty easy to fix. All I had to do was connect the valve that controls flow of water through the heater. This was just connected laying down in there, so I fixed that up. And how you would know that you were having that problem is when you drove really fast, the car would switch to defrost. And that defrost, you know, is because this was not connected and there was too much pressure. And that's how you'll know if you have a leak, is when you drive really fast, the vent will switch to defrost, which is its default position on on the valves in the truck. So I had to replace the driver's side mirror. The electronics weren't working correctly in it, and I also had to replace this valve because it wasn't working to control the mirrors. They could go right but not left, so I had to replace that too. The other thing that was broken in this car was for the transmission select lever in the truck. It was not correct. There was somebody had modified this, so I ended up having to use some zip ties to get this correctly. Also, a lot of the trim was broken, wrong screws, rusted screws, so I went back and replaced all the trim screws while I was at it. And what's sort of cool about this truck, and this is why I recommend getting a Ranger Edge. If you look underneath the truck, the edges in four-wheel drive Rangers have torsion bars. Torsion bars give you complete access. You can actually pull the oil pan off. All you have to do is remove the exhaust. You can pull the oil pan off without removing the transmission. So I've had people post in my videos, oh, you don't have to, raise the engine to get the oil pan off. That is true if you have a four-wheel drive or an Edge, because it's got torsion bars and it has a different suspension system on it. This truck has been raised, and other than the leak, there's no leaks on this car. What you do see over there is nothing but the air conditioning condensation. It's hot here in Texas today. Someone had, I've never seen this before, change the control valves, not control valves, the control arms, and did the actual knuckle is under the control arms. I'm not a four-wheel drive. I don't know if that's normal. That scares me a little bit. I'm going to have to look into that to see if I have to pull that off or get a different knuckle. My guess is it's probably fine, but again, I'm not a four-wheel off-roader guy. And someone spent a lot of time on this car. They raised it by about 2.5 inches, and they also put Rancho coilovers to raise the truck. This particular truck does have the 8.8 on it, 8.8 rear end. It comes stock that way. What I'm nervous about is someone may have welded the differential. I haven't had time to open it up and look at it, or they may be a locker in there, like they're locked. And my guess is, my hope is there's just a locker in there, and if that's the case, I'll actually switch it to a real limited slip differential. But I see a lot of marking on it, and that leads me to believe that somebody did something with this car. Other thing too is new tires were on the car, and of course there's a bed liner on it. Someone put Destination MT Firestones on this, and these tires look brand new, and spent a great deal of time cleaning up the rims on the car as well. So again, it's a 2003 Ford Edge extended cab, and still got a lot of little work to do on the car. Someone replaced the grille. The grille looks weird to me. I've never seen one like this, so I'm not quite sure what it is. This is not an original bumper either, and the lights are completely missing here. So again, something else I'll have to deal with. I'm not quite sure what they did here on it. This is that they either were installed broken, because the way the paint's on it, it looks like it never worked right. So again, the bumper and the grille don't exactly match. The grille looks right, the top grille, but the bumper doesn't look right for the car. And then lots of little dings on it, but probably the best condition truck I've seen, and that's why I bought it. I paid $8,000 for it, and these things are hard to come by in decent shape. Back tail lights, has a hitch on it. Very cool little truck, and that's why I decided to get one. Me and my wife have wanted again after my daughter wrecked the last one. And I'll put some clips of some of the stuff I've done working on this truck. But overall, I couldn't be more happy. I also probably have spent $600 in parts getting it up and running correctly. But now that it's up and running, I can reliably drive it anywhere. I've already driven it quite a couple hundred miles to make sure. But I'm happy there's no leaks. Looks like I won't have to worry about rear main seal. The only thing I have nervous left on this car, again, is the engine shaking a little bit. The only thing that gets me worried on this is the transmission doesn't look stock 100%. When they put the flywheel on, is it in the wrong position and not and not in its balance, the flywheel on these, and it could be off a little bit. And if that's the case, of course, I'd have to yank the transmission off. They also upgraded the drive shaft in the truck as well. So again, and also put cherry bombs on the exhaust, which doesn't sound too bad on the truck. But other than that, my brand new 2003 Ford Edge with 94,000 original miles.
So if you like this video, go ahead and smash the like button below. If you want to see more videos like this in the future, go ahead and click the subscribe button and the bell if you want some notifications. See you next time on Chasing Mustangs.
Thanks.
All right.
Great job.
Yeah, I see it like literally every day.